folks, welcome to the final digitaloffroad.com post-race show. We're here at the Ironman GNCC. It's kind of a sad day. We're ending the season. I've been talking, race end of the year was going to come, and we're kind of excited for the last race, but we don't want the year to end. And we weren't really sure what to expect this year, Rodney, because it was dusty, and we never have dust at the Ironman, it seems like.
Yeah, I know. And it seems like the last couple of years too, Jason, we've been plagued with mud at the GNCC, especially in the early part of this year. It seemed like every race we were having basically was a mud race. I can remember we started talking about it in the early part of the season, and when we had our first dry race after the Florida round, we were all in celebration of it all. But
right.
Man, we kept praying for dry weather, and hoping for that for the latter part of the season. We got it at Unadilla, a little bit of rain, but it was still dusty and dry up there. We had dry conditions in Tennessee. We had dry conditions in St. Clairsville, Ohio 2 weeks ago, and man, did we ever have dry and dusty conditions here at the Ironman. Probably one of the worst dusty conditions that we've ever had in the 16 years of running this place.
Yeah, it was awful, and it was one of those things, we're watching the radar, and it seemed like it just kept going around us. It's like there was nothing we could do. We couldn't get any rain, and it sprinkled a little bit, sprinkled yesterday, sprinkled a little bit this morning. You're like, come on, please, doing your rain dance, hoping it was come, but it just wasn't, and that, the riders got prepared for it the best you could. We tried to get prepared for it. Filming is nearly impossible in this stuff, trying to shoot around the creeks and stuff like that, but nothing you can do. We had to go racing.
Yeah, I had to go racing, and that's exactly what happened today, Jason. And when those guys took off the line, it was as intense as the first round of the 2010 season. The crowd was packed in. They were amped up and ready to go. The riders on the starting line, they were all ready to go. We had a lot of our GNCC faithful, some visitors from out of Australia, and some local guys too that really made for a good mix there on XC1 Pro Row.
Yeah, and there wasn't much of the only story we had there. I was going to say there wasn't much of a story, but it was actually a good story. Caleb Russell was going to race XC1. He'd wrapped up the XC2 championship last race. He was finally going to move up. We've been waiting for this for quite some time. There was a chance it was going to happen at the last year. We thought maybe he'd move up, but he ended up not doing it, and he did. And he goes and rips like the biggest hole shot of the whole year. They're like, holy cow, here we go. Caleb Russell, welcome to XC1, man. He's not going to mess around. He's going for it.
Yeah, no doubt. And, I kind of assumed that maybe Caleb was a little bit nervous heading into this race, being his first XC1 Pro race.
But he set you straight on the podium.
Yeah, he did. That's one of the things that you can say about Caleb, man. Maybe he's right. Maybe there are no nerves whatsoever involved, but you would think there would be some, but he doesn't show them. And, man, he pulled $250 MotorcycleUSA.com hole shot award, and it looked like Russell was going to be the man to beat. But he got out there, went the wrong way on the trail right off the bat, and Paul Whibley got around.
Yeah, and Paul got out, and then, with the dust, it was hard for the guys to stay real tight. And Paul started pulling a little bit of a lead on him, but, it was like maybe 10, 15 seconds to Caleb. And then third place was way back. There was a big gap between there. And then coming in, 10 miles in, didn't even make a lap. And Caleb tips it over in a creek. I saw the video of it. We'll show it here right now probably. And he just tips over, and the airbox goes into the water. He keeps the bike running, but as soon as he picks the bike up, sucks in the water, and he's done. And that was the end of his day.
Yeah, that's a heartbreaker. But one thing that is probably good for Caleb is the fact that he did wrap his XC2 Pro Lights Championship up there last week, because had it gone down to the wire and a similar situation happened in that, man, it would have been a whole different story and ending to this 2010 season.
Yeah, and we ended up seeing, as the race developed, Whibley got out front, and then we got a similar situation where, Strang was moving his way up to the front, Charlie Mullins was moving his way up to the front, and then both of these guys end up running into issues that if that championship had come down to this last race, it could have been a mess.
Both of them, yes.
Yeah, so it was crazy how how it all works out. You just never know what's racing. That's why that's why we race, because you don't know the answer.
Exactly. Fortunate for the champions that it all got sealed up a little bit early, that's for sure. But I tell you, one of the riders that was really on fire today was that of Thad Duvall. He really started working his way up through the pack, and he got into position, and he was turning the fastest laps of the day. And I'm not talking by 5 seconds. I'm talking by 15 to 20 seconds sometimes. He and both Bach were turning some fast laps back and forth there throughout the course of the day. And, as the race wore on, it was a three-way battle there at one point with Wibbs, with Strang, and with Thad, and Thad just simply laid it down on that big wall down there, the Ironman wall, the new big hill climb that they have, and that pretty much took the wind out of his sails until he got the pit board of what was going on with Josh Strang.
Yeah, Josh, poor guy. He, works from a pretty bad, mediocre start. He was way back, ends up passing Whibley. He's leading the race, comes out into the cornfield here on the 8-mile mark, and bike's just starting to let go. It's sucking in too much dust, and he wasn't going to be able to make it, so he let Whibley go by, limps it into the pits, and had to end up having to call it a day. Wasn't the way he wanted to end his season, but like we were saying with Caleb, his season's already over, really. He won the championship, so it wasn't a big deal. But, and so Thad, he's kind of in the middle of nowhere. He's having to worry about Chris Bach, who's 45 seconds behind, and it just seemed like that gap couldn't change. Chris was riding really good, and he was another guy. We didn't see him early in the race. Chris was way back early in the race, and oh man, home state race. He was kind of really looking for a big solid finish here to end of the year. His last ride on the KTM before switching to the Beta, and I'm like, well, it's not going to happen for him. But he just kept charging. It was persistence and the battle of attrition really for some of these guys out there. Thad had that mishap. He was stuck on the hill for maybe a minute. Yeah. I was there the whole time I watched him. He was stuck for maybe a minute trying to get his bike going. He rolled down the hill, but he didn't give up. Yeah. And that's what it was all about. He didn't give up. And then come to find out, Strang, his bike isn't going to make it. So there he inherits a position. Bach was way back, but he didn't give up on himself, and he kept plugging along, and then all of a sudden he ends up on the podium. That's what he said today. He wasn't disappointed with the third. He laid it all out there. He never got that win. He got that second to Strang in Florida, then some more, third at Unadilla. I think he got a third in Georgia. He's racked up some podiums, and it was impressive. And, now we've got Jordan Ashburn, who's going to be moving up next year and could be racing XC1, and it's going to be pretty cool, and that's the kind of, I guess, get us looking forward to next year. Yeah, no doubt about it. I'm looking forward to that. It's amazing what the 2011 season holds for us, and we don't even have a clue yet, and I think it's only going to get better. And Jason, we talk about the XC1 racing, but, with Caleb Russell being out of the XC2 class, you almost got to think that maybe there wasn't a whole lot going on back there today, but that's just the opposite end of that story also, because we had a lot of things going on in XC2. Yeah, we had, obviously you'd figure the favorite to win would be Jason Thomas. You got second in the class, kept Caleb honest all year. But, Stuart Baylor's been coming on strong, and the same with Jesse Robinson, those two Southern boys on the KTM two-strokes, and they were going for it, and we ended up having some pretty good racing in that class. Stuart was up close with Jason, and he just couldn't shake him there for a while, and he ended up running into some bike problems. And I tell you, I never seen such a depressed individual on the podium as what I saw Stuart Baylor. Yeah, you would have thought he got 10th. He got second, and he's up there. He was bordering on tears, I think. But again, it just shows you how bad these guys want it. Yeah. This is his life. This is what he wants to do. He wants to win races, and he didn't get a win all year. And he was close. He rode some really good races, and he just wasn't able to get it done. And I think that just makes me more excited for next year for the XC2 class. Right. So Stewart's going to be back. I think Jason Thomas is probably going to be back in that class. I talked to Jesse Robinson. He doesn't know what he's doing for sure as far as a ride, but he said he only needs to buy one bike because he's going to keep one bike from this year to practice on, and he'll be back, and he's racing XC2. So, Caleb Russell might be out, but that doesn't mean anybody's guaranteed a championship next year in that class. No, it most certainly does not, and we're going to see a lot of new faces in that XC2 Pro Lights class next year as well. So, who knows what's going to be going on there? Yeah, we don't know anything. There's so much silly season stuff going on right now, even in the XC1. We don't know who's going to go where, and we're going to find out, in a few months, and it's going to be pretty awesome, and I can't wait. For sure. Congratulations again to Paul Whibley. 2 wins to wrap up the 2010 season. Couldn't ask for a better way to wrap it up. He's also got his ride wrapped up for next year, so he's going to go home on the YZ, and he's going to practice all winter, and I say look out for Paul Whibley in 2011, and I think a lot of these guys are going to come gunning. Oh, yeah. Josh Strang, he's got that big bullseye on his back, and I know he's going to be ready, too, because he's going to be back on that Suzuki. So, it's going to be an interesting year, and I can't wait. We've ended the show like this every race so far, so we might as well, can't wait for the next one, but we're going to have to wait quite some time. But what are you going to do? That's the way it is. That's the way it is. And a lot of you guys that race the GNCC series, we'll see you at the banquet coming up December 10th and 11th, and other than that, man, that's about all I got for this season. And I'll just cap it off by the way I've been starting quick fill as of lately. Wow. Awesome. I got nothing else to add. We got some guys riding on the quad behind us. I don't know what that's about, but that's a way to end the show. So that's it. I'm Jason Hooper. I'm Rodney Tomblin. And that's it. We'll see you guys later.